Hey there, welcome to the UkeStuff channel and welcome to this full UkeGuide review of this instrument. This is the Flight Travel, Ultra Travel S-35 Ink ukulele. I've had it for a while and I actually had a demo model of this before Flight released it. And this is where I'd like to just say that I do some part-time work with Flight Ukulele. Therefore, I mark this video as sponsored even though I did buy this instrument. I am allowed to buy some instruments at dealer pricing, so I did pay for it. However, I do mark this video as sponsored as I do work with the company, so do keep that in mind as I do my review. You would probably want to check some other reviews to see if I'm just lifting Flight up because I do work with them or whether I'm being honest. I think it's the latter, but nonetheless, I'll let you decide by being honest with you straightforward. Now, with this instrument, it is a polycarbonate ukulele, which is different than the other Flight Travel ukuleles, which I have reviewed on this channel. And it is made fully out of polycarbonate except for the strings and the tuners, making it very weather resistant. And you might wonder why. Well, as a teacher, this instrument offers a lot of hope for me, and I'll talk about that as we get a little further. But it's also great for traveling because you don't have to worry about it. If it gets hot, it's not going to get ruined. The strings will turn like jello, all floppy. It happens all the time. But the instrument itself can handle it, whereas an ABS instrument can actually melt in those conditions. So it's very weather resistant and it's great for a travel ukulele. It's the Ultra Travel Ukulele. They sell for about $60, and we'll get into that when we get into the specifications. Now, what are we going to do in this video? First of all, we'll talk about some subjective categories that I do with all instruments. Then I'll go over the specifications, and then finally I'll summarize the instrument and give it a uke guide out of 5 possible ukuleles. If you want to support the work on the channel, there are 3 things you can do. First of all, you can like the video. Second, you can subscribe to this channel and the sister channel, Uke Playlongs. And third, you can always buy me a cup of coffee to say thank you for making this content at www.buymeacoffee.com/UkeStuff. So let's get on to the subjective categories. First, cost. These are $59.99 from Flight dealers, and they come ready to go with a light gig bag, just the drawstring bag. That's not my favorite because I like a bag that I can really throw over my shoulder easier or carry a little bit easier all day long, for example, at a festival. But it includes a bag at that price point, fine. And you can always go out and buy yourself a different bag if you want to. Nonetheless, it does come with a drawstring bag and the fluorocarbon strings that are on it. I'll just note this really quickly. They have really long ends on this one. I have not changed these strings, and that's longer than you normally see with an instrument. The value is very good. The price meets the value here, exceeds it a little bit with the drawstring bag for what you're getting. And there's kind of 2 ways to look at this. You can compare this one to the Enya Nova Mini, which I'm going to do a video of, and you compare it to the outdoor ukulele. Compared to the Enya Nova Mini, it's a little bit lower of a value just because Enya throws in a bunch of other stuff with their product. And although Enya includes sort of a soft shell bag, or at least they used to, they might have changed that. The drawstring bag isn't as good as that, nor is it as good as the package of goodies you get with the Enya, but I think this is the more durable ukulele. And then compared to the outdoor ukulele, where you get nothing other than the instrument and the strings that are on it, that's much more expensive, $185, I believe. So this is an incredible value compared to that for an instrument that I think sounds a little better, maybe doesn't play quite as well, and we'll get to that later in terms of just the overall setup, and we'll talk about why when I compare them. But nonetheless, it's a good value. It exceeds the value. It's not a bargain out of this world, but it is a good bargain for a beginner or somebody that wants to travel ukulele. So yeah, it's a good value. It's just not a stellar value, if that makes sense. The build quality is exactly what you'd expect. All smooth, feels good, put together well. Yeah, I mean, it's an injected molded instrument. It should be good, right? So build quality appears flawless. All right, let's take a look at the inside of the instrument. We're not going to see a lot here, but as I aim the camera to the back, if I pull way up at the top, what you can see is just there is some bracing there. And it has kind of a cool brace feature. I can't really get a good picture of this at the time. See if I can pull it back a little more. This is really hard to do. There you go. You can see the bracing on the soundboard. I think it's sort of waffle shaped, as you can see. And really, there's not much else to see. And we'll look at the top here for a second. All right, now we're looking at the top. You can still see sort of that waffle bracing on the top. You can see that there really isn't a neck block at all. And if I move over to the side here, you can see where the top is glued on to the rest of the body. The rest of the body is just formed. So there's not a whole lot to see on the inside of this instrument. It's injected and it's made out of polycarbonate. And that's our quick look at the inside of the Flight Ultra S35 ink. All right, let's talk about appearance. It's very plain. It does have some similar styling to the Flight Travels with the headstock. The body is rounded. The feel is really good with the polycarbonate. There's a grip to it that isn't bumpy, so it feels good. It does feel a bit heavy, which we will get into with playability maybe a little bit, but otherwise it's very plain, sort of traditionally styled until you see the back of the instrument with that bowl and of course with the material of polycarbonate. In terms of availability, these are available from Flight dealers, but not all colors may be available at all times depending on what's in stock. In regards to playability, ultimately it's a 35 millimeter nut, which is really good, and the setup is really good here as well. Nice low action. You can check out the numbers later when we get into the specifications of the instrument. The neck is shaped well. It's flat on the top, not rounded. Very much similar to the Travel series as a whole. It doesn't have that C shape, that deep C shape. So that is really good as well. The one negative is it feels heavy. It's not really a heavy instrument, but it feels heavy because it's bottom heavy at that polycarbonate. So as a result, it can feel heavier to hold than it really is. You're not countering a lot of the weight on the neck like you normally do on a balanced instrument. But as a whole, it's easy to play. It's set up well and has a wide nut with a really good shaped neck. So nothing to dislike here. It's really good. Sound quality, I think it's the best in its class. So if I compare it to the Nova Mini or if I compare it to the outdoor ukulele, I like the sound of this instrument best. I'm going to do a separate comparison video between this and the Enya Nova Mini and the outdoor soprano just so you can hear the difference yourself. But I think it's for the material, it's a nice, well-rounded sound. I don't think it sounds plasticky at all comparing it to other plastic ukuleles that I play and own. I think Barry Maz talked about it sounding plasticky. I don't hear that. It doesn't sound plasticky to me. Now, does it sound like wood? No, but it doesn't sound tubby plasticky at all. I think it's pretty loud. Not as loud as the Nova, which is bright and cuts through. And again, that'll be a comparison later. And it's a balanced sound. There is sustain. 2, 3, 4. Just over 4 seconds of sustain when I play a chord. And it's got bright and low all at the same time. I think it has really helped with that rounded back bowl there of the body, which is really good. Now, one of the things that I do is I let you see what I'm hearing by playing into the app Tonal Energy Tuner. So I'm going to get that open here and begin recording. I'm going to play a C chord 3 times, and you can see what the sound spectrum does, the harmonic energy. Here we go. I always find it interesting. Sometimes tonal energy agrees with my ears, sometimes it doesn't. In this case, it didn't show much sustain on the top end and going to the bottom very quickly, which would typically resemble a tubby sound. But to my own ear, I'm hearing overtones pinging and I'm hearing ringing for about 4 seconds when the sound is dying off sooner than that on Tonal Energy Tuner. Now, it is hearing what it is hearing. I'm hearing what I'm hearing. I like the sound of this instrument And again, watch for the comparison between this and the outdoor and the Enya Nova Mini. All right, now that we've talked about the subjective categories, let's go into the specifications for the instrument. It is a soprano ukulele. There is not a concert version or a long neck soprano version of this. It has a measured scale length of 13.875 inches, which I believe is shorter than the soprano travel ukulele by Flight. It has 12 frets with 12 to the body. It does have side position markers, and it is a double bout body with a rounded back. The soundboard is polycarbonate, the back and sides are polycarbonate, the fretboard is polycarbonate, the bridge is polycarbonate, and it is a slotted bridge for string changes. It is not a raised fretboard, which separates it from the Enya Nova Mini. The nut and saddle are polycarbonate as well. You cannot adjust it, which is fine because the action is ideal here. In fact, probably better than ideal. Nice and low, and then you never have to set it or worry about it, which is great. So you also have a 0 fret up here for intonation. So you've got your nut, your 0 fret, then you've got your bridge down here, and your saddle is molded into the bridge down there as well. It is not a compensated saddle, it's straight across. So if you wanted to get an unwound low G, you could put that on this instrument. It's a matte finish on it. Very good texture and playability. I think that helps. It's a nice texture to hold. It is 21.5 inches long and it weighs 1 pound, 5.2 ounces, which is solid for a soprano, but unfortunately it's body heavy, so it makes it feel heavier than it really is. It has geared tuners with kind of this almost makes me think of a slotted headstock a little bit, but you've got 2 tuners on one piece there. So if you wanted to move to other tuners, I think you could do that pretty successfully because you've got 1, 2, 3 holes for those rather than 4 holes if you had 4 separate tuners. But I think you could work with those existing holes if you got the right shape. But and again, it's not pressed in there or anything, so you could swap these out if you wanted to. I don't find a need to. They work just fine. Now, here's where this instrument gets really exciting. The action at the first fret is only 0.26 millimeters. The action at the 12th fret is 2.53 millimeters. Nice and low action, easy to play. We'll talk more about strings at the end of this little specifications here, but the nut width is 38.1 millimeters. The space between strings is 9.4 millimeters, so it's roomy. It's 30.9 millimeters G to A. At times you think you're playing a much larger instrument, even though it's a soprano scale neck because of that string spacing. It's really comfortable. The neck shape is not super deep. If I measure from the top of the third string to the bottom, it's 21.3 millimeters, which is it's pretty common, but it's a more flattened shape as a whole rather than wounded, so it fits into your hand very well. So yeah, I like this a lot. I do think that the outdoor ukulele is slightly better in terms of ergonomics, but not by much, and it wouldn't keep me from buying this instrument. Just comparing it, and again, watch for that review. Now, the one thing I will say, other than these strings sticking out a little bit here, is that some reviewers have not liked these fluorocarbon strings. Well, then put on strings of your choice as long as they are not wound or metal particles. Like the Aquila Reds can really dig into a plastic-based ukulele, even polycarbonate. So I would not suggest that. Any fluorocarbon, any Aquila Nile Gut or Nile Tech sort of string, nylon strings, bio strings, sugar strings. There's lots of options, just no wound and no metal particle strings, please. All right, with those specifications, let's get into a summary of the instrument and again, give it a UkeGuide rating out of 5 possible ukuleles. In summary, I want to remind you that I do part-time work with Flight Ukulele. I was not given this instrument for review. I bought it, but I do get the opportunity to buy these at a discounted dealer pricing. Now, even though I'm not paid to make this video, nor am I given this ukulele, I still mark this video as sponsored because of my relationship with Flight. So here we go. In 2022, Flight released this instrument. It's made out of polycarbonate, and it is a step above for durability and weather resistance to its ABS instruments, the Flight Travel Series. I'm going to do a comparison between this and one of our long neck sopranos as well. It does have some visual clues from that original travel series, such as the headstock, and I think also the neck shape, a little bit of the curvature of the back of the instrument, but it's a completely different ukulele. It's definitely more rugged. It has a wider nut than the Flight Travel series, and it has an ideal setup, I think, for most players. Maybe some really, really hard strummers might not like it, but I think everybody else would. It has a balanced, to me, not wood, but certainly not plasticky sound. And its closest competitors would be the Enya Nova Mini for about the same price, about $60, and the outdoor ukulele, which begins at $185. Comparatively, I think it's a better instrument than the Enya Nova Mini, although I do like that instrument. And compared to the outdoor soprano, I think it has a better sound and is a far better bargain at 1/3 of the price. So this one also comes with options for the color of the top and even some prints as well. So it has some more flexibility also than the Enya or the outdoor soprano in just appearance. I wanted just a plain black one. And here's where I get to also in closing about school instruments. We bought a set of 640 flight long neck travel soprano ukuleles for our school district of 17 elementary schools when we adopted an ukulele curriculum. Don't regret that at all. However, had Flight had this instrument out at that time, that is what we would have bought because it's slightly more rugged than even the Flight travel ukulele. Doesn't mean that it sounds quite as good, but it is a little more rugged, and this is where we would have gone. If you ask me for a recommendation for a school ukulele, this is currently probably going to be my top choice of any instrument that's on the market just because of its ruggedness. And like I said, it has a good sound, it plays well, has a wide nut, and it's really low action. So all those things together, it's a really, really good instrument for what it is. Now, what rating would I give it? This one gets a 4.5 out of 5. So that's where I'm at. I'm going to say 4.5. It's really good, and it's what my current choice for a school instrument that wasn't wood or made out of laminate would be. All right, thank you so much for watching the video. I hope you're having a great day, and I'll be back soon with some more Uke stuff for you.